It began with silence, the kind of silence that holds its breath before something breaks. Rain whispered against the iron roof of a small apartment in Lagos. The light inside flickered, painting the walls in restless shadows. On the bed, two bodies, close enough to touch, far enough to regret. She wasn't supposed to be there. Not in his room, not in his best friend's bed. The air smelled of guilt and cheap perfume. The ticking clock on the wall sounded louder than thunder. Every second was a question. What have you done, Amara? Her hand trembled as she reached for her dress. The man beside her, Malik, said nothing. His chest rose and fell fast, his eyes avoiding hers. Between them lay the kind of silence that ruins years of laughter. Outside, lightning cracked the sky open, and for a moment, her reflection flashed in the mirror, eyes swollen, lips shaking, heart bleeding. She told herself she was doing this for love, to test it, to prove something. But in that mirror, love looked nothing like this. Somewhere across town, another man, the one who trusted her, who called her his peace, was sitting alone, smiling at her last message, I love you. Don't ever change. He didn't know that in a few hours, that message would become poison in his veins. Because love, when twisted by fear and pride, becomes the cruelest weapon of all. And tonight, both hearts would learn that loyalty cannot be tested, only lost. Her name was Amara Nusu, 27 years old, a woman who carried beauty like a blessing and a curse. She grew up in the noisy heart of Surulere, where laughter mixed with generators, hum and Sunday choirs spilled from open windows. People knew her for her quiet grace, the way she smiled with her eyes, the way she cared for everyone, except, sometimes, herself. Amara worked as a schoolteacher. Every morning she walked past the street vendors calling prices for yam and bread, greeting elders with a soft bend of the head. Her world was simple: chalk dust, children's laughter, and the dream of a peaceful home. But beneath her calm, she carried a loneliness no one saw. Her mother had died early. Her father, lost in drink. So when Chaik came into her life, she thought the universe had finally remembered her name. Chaik was different, confident, loyal, always talking about the future. He called her Queen of Patience. He made her believe in forever. They'd been together 3 years now, and people said they were inseparable. Even her neighbors would tease. Amara, when will he pay your bride price, eh? She'd blush, smile, and whisper, soon, when he's ready. But inside, that, soon, began to ache. Chaik had dreams larger than their one-room apartment. He worked long hours with his best friend Malik, running a small logistics business. Together, they planned to expand, but lately, something between them had changed. Malik had become distant, colder. And Chaik, distracted. There were nights he didn't answer calls. Messages left on read. And in Amara's mind, fear began to whisper, maybe he's slipping away. Her friends told her, men will always test your worth. Just make sure he still chooses you. Those words grew roots in her heart. She started watching Chaik closer, how he smiled at his phone, how his voice softened when he said another woman's name at work. Jealousy became her shadow, yet all Amara wanted was to be sure. Sure that her love wasn't a lie. Sure that Chaik's promises weren't just wind. And so, the thought came, dark, quiet, but seductive. What if I test him? What if I make him prove his loyalty? In her world, trust was fragile. One rumor, one secret, could shatter a heart. But she forgot what the old women always said. When you test love with fire, even gold may melt. And soon, her test would cost her everything she once prayed for. It began with a whisper, a small, poisonous rumor that crawled through the cracks of trust. One humid evening, Amara sat in her classroom after the children had gone. The air was thick with chalk dust and tired sunlight. Her phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. Your man was seen with a woman at City View Hotel. Room 12. She froze. The words burned her eyes. The number had no name, no photo, just truth wrapped in malice. Her heart started to race. She called Chaik. Once, twice, no answer. Outside, thunder rumbled like judgment. By the time she reached home, night had fallen. Chaik wasn't there. His shoes, missing. His scent, fading. She sat on the bed, staring at her reflection in the small mirror. Her face looked older, harder. Then, a knock. Malik stood at the door, rain dripping from his jacket. His eyes held pity, or maybe guilt. Amara, he said softly, you shouldn't believe everything you hear. Then tell me it's a lie, she whispered. Tell me Chike wasn't with another woman. Malik looked away. He loves you, he said, but men, sometimes forget the hearts they hold. That night, her world cracked. Every word from Malik felt like a blade, gentle, careful, but sharp enough to bleed hope. When he turned to leave, she said something she didn't plan. Would you help me know the truth? He stopped. The rain hissed outside like a warning. What do you mean? If he can betray me, she said slowly, then I want to see how loyal he really is. I want to test him. Malik's jaw tightened. You don't test love this way, Amara. Then how? She snapped. How do I know I'm not a fool? Silence. Only the rain answered, and in that silence, a dangerous idea took root, something that would change all 3 lives. Amara's decision wasn't born from hate, but from heartbreak disguised as logic. She thought she was protecting her heart, when she was preparing to destroy it. Just one night, she whispered. To prove what's real. And Malik, torn between loyalty and desire, didn't walk away. Outside, lightning tore across the sky. The ancestors must have turned their faces that night, because that was the moment Amara crossed a line she could never return from. The following night, Lagos carried that strange stillness before a storm, streetlights flickering, dogs howling far off, wind bending the banana trees. Inside Malik's apartment, the air was heavy with secrets. A single candle burned on the table, throwing trembling shadows on the walls. Amara sat there, hands clasped, knees shaking. Every breath sounded like guilt trying to escape her chest. Malik paced the floor, restless. You can still walk away, he murmured. It's already gone too far, she replied. I need to know if Chike truly values me, or just the idea of me. Malik turned, eyes sharp. You think this will prove anything? It'll destroy you both. Then maybe that's what needs to happen, she whispered. Maybe truth only lives in ruins. He stared at her, a woman drowning in doubt, begging for pain to look like clarity. And something inside him cracked too. Malik had always envied Chike's happiness, his confidence, his peace. Amara was never meant for him, yet she haunted him in every conversation, every silence between jokes. The night stretched thin. Outside, thunder grumbled like old gods warning them to stop. But desire and pain often sound the same when your heart is lost. When Amara's trembling fingers touched his hand, time paused. For a moment, even guilt went quiet. The candle flickered once, and went out. The next morning, sunlight crept through the curtains, soft and cruel. Amara woke to the sound of Malik's breath beside her. For a few seconds, she forgot, then remembered, and her body went cold. What have we done? She whispered. Malik said nothing. He just sat up, covering his face. You did this for him, he said. But you broke him before he even knew it. Her eyes filled. Don't say that. Say what? Malik snapped. The truth. You think Chike won't find out? Do you think lies sleep quietly? She dressed in silence, every motion slow, as if her body resisted leaving that room of shame. When she reached the door, Malik spoke again, softer now. He loves you, Amara. More than you understand. Don't tell him, please. She didn't answer. Her silence was her sentence. Days passed. Chike returned home cheerful, holding a new phone for her. Business is growing, he smiled. Malik and I just got a new contract. We'll be fine soon. Amara's smile trembled. The ground beneath her spirit shook. Every time Chike mentioned Malik's name, her chest tightened like a rope. She couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. Guilt became her shadow. Then came the dreams. She saw her mother, in white, standing by a river. The woman's face glowed softly, but her eyes carried sorrow. My daughter, her voice echoed, you have opened a door the spirits do not close easily. Amara woke crying. The candle on her table had melted into a strange, twisted shape, like 2 bodies clinging, burning. That morning, she visited the church. But even inside the holy walls, she couldn't breathe peace. The pastor's sermon felt like it was meant for her. No sin hides forever. The truth walks on its own feet. Each word struck her like thunder. Meanwhile, Malik's mind unraveled. He started avoiding Chike, giving excuses for work meetings. His jokes were forced, his eyes tired. Chike noticed. You good, bro? Chike asked one evening. Yeah, Malik said, forcing a grin. Just tired. But Chike knew him too well. Tired, or hiding something? Malik laughed, too quickly. Why would I hide anything from you? That question hung in the air like smoke. Later that night, Chike found Amara sitting alone on the veranda, staring into the darkness. He sat beside her. You've been quiet lately, he said. Is something wrong? She wanted to speak. The truth clawed at her throat. But she only said, just work stress. I'm fine. He smiled, kissed her forehead, and whispered, I trust you. That sentence broke her completely. Because loyalty, once broken, turns even kindness into torture. A week later, a message arrived on Malik's phone, from Amara. We need to talk. I can't carry this anymore. They met at a quiet bar near the lagoon. The city lights shimmered on the water, and music played low in the background. I can't do this, Amara said. He deserves to know. Malik shook his head. You'll destroy him. I already did, she whispered. As she spoke, they didn't know that Chaik was standing across the street, watching. He had followed Malik there after suspecting strange calls between them. He saw them, saw her hand touch Malik's, saw the guilt written all over their faces. And something inside him died quietly. That night, he didn't go home. He wandered the city until dawn, rain falling again, just like the night it all began. In the old ways, they say the ancestors send rain when hearts break beyond repair. And as the first light touched Lagos, Chaik finally understood what betrayal sounds like, not shouting, not crying, but the silence of two people you love sharing a secret that never belonged to them. It was the night of the storm again, the kind that shakes rooftops and drowns secrets. Thunder rolled through the streets of Lagos like the voice of something ancient, something tired of watching humans break each other in the name of love. Amara waited in the apartment, her heart a restless drum. Chaik had not come home in 2 days. His phone, unreachable, his silence, punishment enough. Rain hammered the windows, candles flickered, bending their flames like they feared what was coming. Then, a knock, slow, heavy, final. She opened the door. Chaik stood there, drenched, eyes hollow. He didn't speak. He just looked at her, the way a man looks at a grave he dug himself. Chaik, she whispered, voice trembling. You're scaring me. He stepped inside, dripping water across the floor. The air felt colder now. He placed his phone on the table. On the screen, a video. Grainy, shaky, but clear enough. Her breath stopped. Malik's room, her face. That night, she covered her mouth, shaking. Who sent this? Does it matter? Chaik said, his tone calm, too calm. Truth has its own way of finding home. Thunder cracked outside, lighting their faces in silver and sorrow. Chaik, please, it wasn't what it looked like, she cried. Then tell me what it was, he said, stepping closer. Tell me why the woman I wanted to marry, slept with my brother in spirit. She fell to her knees, tears spilling. I was afraid of losing you, I wanted to know if you still loved me. He stared down at her, eyes glistening. And now you know, he said softly. You've lost me, and him too. Silence. Only the rain spoke now, whispering against the glass like the ancestors' mourning. Do you know what loyalty means, Amara? Chaik's voice cracked. It's not what you test, it's what you keep. He turned toward the door. But as he reached for the handle, lightning struck nearby, the entire room flashed white. The lights flickered, then went dark. In that brief, holy silence, Amara heard her mother's voice again, the same whisper from her dreams. The river does not forgive the one who stirs its depth in anger. Her body trembled. She rose slowly, rain still pounding the roof. Chaik, please don't leave me like this. He stopped. Without turning, he said, we both died that night, Amara. Only our shadows are left. He opened the door. The wind howled in, scattering papers, blowing out the last candle. When she stepped outside moments later, he was gone. The rain swallowed him. The road shimmered empty under the storm's tears. Some said he left the city. Others whispered that Malik found him first, that a fight broke out near the lagoon, and one never returned. But no one knows for sure. Because when love breaks in such a way, even truth hides behind silence. And in the days that followed, Lagos felt heavier, as if the sky itself carried their pain. Amara would sit by her window, watching the rain, whispering the same words over and over. I just wanted to know if he loved me. But love, once tested by betrayal, never answers again. Weeks passed, and the rain finally stopped. The city dried, but Amara's heart remained soaked in regret. The laughter from her classroom now felt distant, like it belonged to another lifetime. The children still called her Auntie Amma, still ran to hug her, but behind her smile lived a quiet ghost. At home, she moved like a shadow, cooking for one, sleeping by herself, listening to the hum of a fan that never seemed to stop. Malik had disappeared. Rumors said he left Lagos for the north, chasing contracts, chasing peace. Chike. No one knew. Some claimed they saw him boarding a night bus to Enugu. Others swore they heard his name whispered by fishermen near the lagoon, where two sets of footprints ended by the water's edge. Everywhere Amara went, silence followed. One Sunday evening, she returned to her mother's old church. The same place where she once prayed for love. She sat at the back, eyes closed, tears drying slowly on her cheeks. The choir sang, Anye Nami Mma, the one who does good, and their voices rose like forgiveness floating toward heaven. In that moment, she understood. Love doesn't fail because it weakens, it fails because fear takes its place. Outside, the sky glowed gold. Children chased kites through the evening wind. Life had moved on. Only Amara remained in yesterday. She stood, touched her chest gently, and whispered to herself. The heart I tried to protect is the one I destroyed. A soft breeze passed through the open window, carrying the scent of rain and dust, a reminder that every storm, no matter how violent, leaves the world quieter afterward. And in that stillness, she finally felt what truth sounds like, not thunder, not screams, but silence that forgives nothing, yet teaches everything. The sun had fallen behind the old jacaranda trees, painting the sky in a quiet sorrow. The house that once echoed with laughter now breathed only with ghosts of what was said and what could never be undone. Amara sat by the window, her hands trembling over the letter she never sent, a confession, a regret, a plea to time itself. Love, she finally understood, was not a game to be tested but a truth to be guarded. In proving his loyalty, she had shattered her own. Outside, the wind carried the sound of a door creaking, or perhaps it was forgiveness leaving for good. Her tears did not beg for return, they only whispered understanding. Trust, once broken, never returns the same, it comes back wearing scars instead of promises.